greetings to all of you, my dear sisters and brothers, and my dear friends, and all of you are welcome to this new broadcasting of the In the Secret Place. And we are now in Psalm 4. This is your pastor, Yadi. And today we're going to talk in our reflection, assurance of answered prayer. And the key verse for this is Psalm 4, verse 3. Know that the Lord has set apart his faithful servant for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. We can identify with the desperation and plea of the psalmist in the opening verses. Sometimes we feel rejected or maybe are conscious of having made a mistake. Having offended someone, we feel the reproach of a strained relationship. We are out of sorts with God. That sweet fellowship and sense of his presence has vanished. And we plead with him to answer our prayer. Be gracious to us and reveal our distress. The contrast is made clear in the characterizing one who succumbs to worldly and ungodly attitudes and behavior, and what one does who is walking a godly life in the righteousness of the Father. One who is out of fellowship with the Father is attracted the worthless thing, value of the world, materialism, and entertainment that appeals to baser instincts and passions. Such a person is deceived and misleads others in his example and influence. We recognize our need for God's help. It is not because we are deserving, but because of his righteousness that we can expect him to answer when we call. It is on the basis of his grace that he hears our prayer. Verse 3 is a beautiful reminder that if we live a godly life, it is because God has chosen us and set us apart. It is not for our blessing, but for his glory. Why does the godly person have assurance the Lord hears when he calls? It is because we belong to him and walk in fellowship with him. Life becomes communion with God in which the Father responds to our pleading and manifests himself to us in an outpouring of grace. The person set apart for the Lord is to do 4 things to maintain that relationship. First, tremble and do not sin. The fear of the Lord should be a deterrent from sin. Second, meditate and think about the Lord and godly things in times when we are still while lying in bed or perhaps waiting in a line or stalled in traffic. Third, offer the sacrifices of righteousness. Do what is good. What would Jesus do? And fourth, trust in the Lord, walk in faith, confident that God is leading and enable us. The result of being a godly person who walks with God in doing these things is that God is consistently revealing himself to us and through us. He is lifting up the light of his countenance upon us. He puts gladness in our heart, a joy that abounds like the farmer who reaps a prosperous crop beyond all expectations. And we can sleep in peace and dwell in safety. There is no distress, problem, or threat that infringes on our security. Let us pray. Lord, there is no goodness at all in me. Any element of holiness and godliness comes from you. You have demonstrated grace and mercy in setting me apart from worldly things. But never let me forget it is for your glory. I encounter so many conflicts and temptations in my mind that you give a blessed peace and joy in abundance, because I rest in you and you alone. My dear brothers and sisters, and all of you who are listening to this very encouraging psalm, do we really understand what Jesus Christ did for us? And when we talk about that we are living too much in this world, it doesn't mean that as a Christian you cannot have the joy of a celebration, for example, like a birthday, or having a party for some person who celebrates a kind of a special day or a retirement or so. That is not what we're talking about. We have to see the difference in living in this world and do what is good in this world. We are in the world, but we don't belong to the world anymore. And this is how we can see the difference. And what do we worship? Do we worship God in all that we are doing? Or are we worshiping or taking so much very good care about ourselves and are too selfish? Remember that as Christ was teaching his disciples about abiding in him and the branches, the vine and the branches, how important it is to become very fruitful, and that all the fruits doesn't belong to you. You have to give them away. So let this be a reminder from day to day. Make your life fruitful. Stay in Christ, and you will be amazed what God is doing in your life through Christ in you. Blessings to all of you, my dear ones. This is your Pastor Yeti. Bye.